Third most important function is Bankers Bank. RBI is also called as Bankers Bank because for all the banks it is the supervisory body and controls the entire commercial banking system. That is what, according to Indian Banking Regulation Act of 1949, which clearly states that the entire commercial banking system should be under the control of RBI. According to this Indian Banking Regulation Act, all those banking companies having a paid up capital or and reserve of rupees 5 lakhs or more may be included in the second schedule of RBI, and these are called scheduled banks. Observe this bold letters carefully, scheduled banks. This is not new for us. When we learn different types of banks, we discuss the difference between scheduled and non scheduled banks. Recollect that. Scheduled banks are those banks which have been listed under second schedule of RBI Act and which have the paid up capital and the reserve of 5 lakh or more. They are called scheduled. The opposite of this, if you write, that becomes non-scheduled. That is, non-scheduled banks are those banks which are not listed in the second schedule of RBI Act of 1934, which have the paid up capital and the reserve of rupees 5 lakh or more. They are called 5 lakh or less. They are called non-scheduled. Anyway, come back to next. Every scheduled commercial bank, whether it is private or nationalized bank, it has to keep a minimum proportion, certain proportion of its demand deposits. DD stands for demand deposits, or TD stands for time deposits or term deposits. These are not new words for us. When we learn different types of accounts, we have come across these with the RBI, because these scheduled commercial banks, they have to maintain a part of their total deposits with RBI as reserve ratio. This reserve ratio RBI keeps changing from time to time. The RBI can vary this reserve ratio from 3% to 5%. The fourth important function is foreign exchange management and control. RBI is regarded as custodian of foreign exchange in India. You know that no two countries will have the same currency. Currency differ from country to country. In fact, regarding the exchange of foreign currencies, the supreme power is vested with RBI. Now, RBI has decentralized it even by allotting some powers to SBI. It maintains the external value of Indian rupee. RBI has the authority to enter into foreign exchange transactions either on its own account or on behalf of the government, because it is owned by the government, because you know that RBI has been nationalized as early as 1949. That's why on behalf of the government also it can transact, or on its own account it can transact. Since its inception, RBI has performed the function of maintaining exchange value of Indian rupee in terms of pound sterling. But at present, the market rate of exchange of Indian rupee is determined by demand for and supply of foreign currencies in India. Under FEMA, Foreign Exchange Management Act of 1999, I repeat, Foreign Exchange Management Act of 1999, the RBI is also vested with the power to control the foreign payments and transfer of foreign currency and security to foreign nationals. Whenever we discuss about this foreign exchange issues, an important term is required to be remembered called devaluation. The word devaluation stands for reducing the value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency. Due to devaluation, the domestic currency value will decrease, whereas foreign currency value will be appreciated. As a result, imports become costly. When imports become costly, domestic demand for imports decrease. That means we try to cut down our imports. Imports decrease. See the arrow mark down. Imports decrease. As a result, the firms or producers try to produce domestically and try to meet the domestic demand. If surplus is left, it is exported because exports become cheaper. Imports become costly, exports become cheaper. When exports become cheaper to others, they demand more. Because of devaluation, exports increase and imports decrease. The fifth sub-function is lender of the last resort. Actually, RBI is called as lender of last resort because when a commercial bank fails to get assistance from any other source, RBI comes to its rescue. To be more precise, observe this first statement. RBI provides financial assistance to the commercial banks by rediscounting bills of exchange. The concept of bills is not new for us. We have already learned this under commercial banks. It rediscounts the bills submitted to RBI and gives a finance. When commercial banks do not get any loan facilities from any source, RBI comes to their rescue and saves them. That is the reason why RBI is referred as lender of last resort. Next, point 6 or F, credit control. Reserve Bank of India controls the credit through two methods. Actually, about credit control, we have a separate heading. Later on, we'll discuss. Remember, depending upon the situation, whether it is inflation or deflation, it controls credit. Either it may expand the credit or it may contract the credit. During inflation, it tries to control the credit. During deflation, it tries to expand the credit. How? We are going to discuss it later. Let me list out those 2 points. 1. Quantitative credit control, which includes BRP, that is Bank Rate Policy, OMO, that is Open Market Operations, CRR, that is Cash Reserve Ratio, and SLR, which is Statutory Liquidity Ratio. The second point under credit control is qualitative credit control, which includes the instruments like margin money, credit authorization, differential interest rates, and issue of directions. However, when you observe the terms which we have listed within the brackets in the first point as well as second point is totally new to you. We have not yet discussed in the previous headings, but here we have just listed the details about these credit control instruments. We are going to discuss in the following section of RBI in the next class. Thank you.